Tripoli because of the fall of Ras Lanuf, Zawiya and Misrata, the three towns that had been significantly and notably holding out against Colonel Gaddafi's forces. But I would have to say that the widespread nature of this gunfire, the mix of calibers, the sporadic nature of it, and the fact that apart from these pro-Gaddafi supporters driving around, we're not seeing too many people on the streets yet, suggests there's an altogether more complex event going on, and going on right around the center of the city. It's not coming from any one direction. We're just beginning to hear cries coming out. I don't know if you can hear them, I can hear them, of pro-Gaddafi supporters, the honking of the horns. Maybe you can pick that up on my microphone. That's also a pro-Gaddafi vehicle driving through the streets. Those have appeared in the past 5 minutes. But up till then, what I heard was intermittently screeching of police tires, of police car tires, as yet another vehicle took off at top speed from outside our hotel and headed out into the night. But we're not getting any information beyond the fact that we're being told it's a celebration, and the fact that about an hour and a half ago, they let off fireworks over Green Square, something that they do when they want to celebrate a strategic gain in this battle that's been going back and forth across Libya. Apart from that, I can't tell you if they're celebrating or fighting each other right now.
Anita, we've been talking about what's happening in other parts of the country, and what has been significant are running battles between rebel forces and the government, with both sides saying they're taking areas. What has been happening in Tripoli itself? Is there any chance that rebel forces would be gaining any kind of ground there?
That's been the question people have asked from the outset, when there was an initial uprising here and people thought we were in for a rerun of Tunis and Cairo. But in fact, that, after an initial severe crackdown by Libyan forces, has not turned out to be the same, following the same pattern at all. The protests have been limited to some districts of Tripoli. They've been much smaller in scale. There has been no mass rallying of the people, no huge, enormous million people on the street, 200,000 people on the street, no overnight camping in the squares, nothing like this. And I think the simple reason is the security presence in Tripoli has from the start been much more menacing, and people here have been, to start with, much more afraid of what their security forces are capable of. And since that initial night, we understand that security services have been raiding the homes of known opponents to the regime of Muammar Gaddafi, and taking away brothers, sons, uncles. They've just disappeared. And where they've been taken, there's a couple of places where they're held in the city, but what has happened to them, not clear. So the anxiety, the fear in Tripoli has been building palpably since that event. And that is why you're not seeing the sorts of demonstrations that we've seen in other places. People here are a lot more afraid than they seem to have been in Egypt. And then, of course, you have the other presence here of a very energetic crowd of pro-Gaddafi supporters, who can also be called upon to come into an area very quickly and make their feelings known, their enthusiasm for the continued regime of Muammar Gaddafi, and they arrive in large numbers at very short notice.
Anita McNaught, our correspondent, updating us on the situation in Tripoli, where heavy gunfire has been heard. Thank you very much. Well, anti-Gaddafi fighters continue their push to secure some of the key oil hubs in Libya. Our correspondent Hoda Abdelhamid reports from the oil terminal of Ras Lanuf.
This is the newest checkpoint of the anti-Gaddafi forces as they continue their push towards the west of Libya. Their advance has been difficult, as Gaddafi loyalists have used all their might to retain control of oil hubs around the country. A deadly battle raged for hours in Ras Lanuf, a key oil terminal in the east. The rebels say they came under heavy artillery fire and shelling on Friday.
The military base is still theirs. About 20 officers from the Farjan tribe refused to fight. They hung them, and then we entered the base.
The Gaddafi forces retreated. and the rebels got hold of weapons left behind. With more firepower, there's a belief that victory is drawing closer.
It's a battle where every inch of territory is fought for. Now they're regrouping and they say they're getting ready to head first to Sirte and then to Tripoli.
The rebels enjoy the support of soldiers and commanders who have defected. They have taken the lead in the push.
We're from the army. We're waiting for orders to move forward. The only condition to stop fighting is for Gaddafi to leave.
The rebels have pushed the front line and hundreds continue to stream on the coastal road, vowing death or victory. But from now on, it's going to get much tougher. The coming battle for Sirte will be a decisive turn in the uprising that has engulfed Libya. Hud Abdelhamid, AlJazeera, Ras Lanuf.
Well, the Libyan government is presenting a very different picture for the town of AlJazeera. Gaddafi's regime claims it still controls the town. It provided this video highlighting Martyrs Square in AlJazeera on Friday. The pictures pinpoint positions where the government says protesters have artillery and weapons. A foreign ministry spokesman says forces have also been told not to engage with protesters in nearby oil centers. Well, the opposition council based in the rebel-held eastern city of Benghazi is pushing for international recognition. The National Council leader, Mustafa Abid Jalil, told Al Jazeera that a number of former diplomats have been appointed to key posts.
Ali Isawi, the former ambassador to India, is now in charge of foreign affairs. He will start his work from tomorrow. There are some contacts with Arabic and European states to seek recognition of the Council, and we are sensing that there are positive steps in that direction to recognize the Council. There is a military leadership who is coordinating the military activities on the various fronts, and there are specialized and professional people. But the support of the Libyan people is key in these activities. Our goal is to push towards Sirte and break the grip between Misrata and eventually break the hold on Tripoli.
The British Ministry of Defence is refusing to confirm or deny a newspaper report saying several of its elite soldiers have been arrested by rebel forces in eastern Libya. The Sunday Times says up to 8 SAS troops were on a secret mission to contact opposition leaders when they were detained. Well, as fighting continues across the country, food supplies are becoming more scarce, and the concern is that supply lines will be cut off by more clashes. Jackie Rowland has this from AlJazeera.
A rare sight in AlJazeera, a queue outside the bakery. Buying bread has never been a problem before, but now if you want it, you have to wait for it.
Well, as you can see, the problem isn't a shortage of flour. They've got sacks and sacks of the stuff. The wheat is imported. The flour mill is about 100 kilometres to the east of here, and they're not having any problems getting deliveries of flour.
The bakery is owned and run by Egyptians. When the uprising started, half the staff ran away. So the baker is training a few local men to do the job. The problem is that the people of AlJazeera are eating bread more quickly than they can make it. Bread is cheap and filling. You can buy a big bagful for $1.